So I wanted to talk a little bit about these, some of these crazy stories that I was told by my family, and most importantly, how the narratives associated with all this are just absolutely absurd to the point that people actually think I'm having sex with my dog. It's just absolutely ridiculous what people will think, and not just think, but regurgitate to others. But what I like to say is that these are very complex stories that usually involve other people or try to get me involved with other people. They're provocative stories. I cannot know for certain whether they are true or not, but for the one dealing with the NFL and Dexter, I'm pretty sure was absolutely manufactured. So these stories were told to me while I was in college and after my graduation. So this is back in 2006 and from 2006 and on. So just to be clear, at my graduation, my sister calls me up and tells me, oh, she's having trouble with Sherry, my cousin out in Florida. That Sherry's giving her a hard time about a camera that got damaged somehow at my graduation. And I was like, okay. Anyway, I didn't do anything about it because there's nothing to do. I mean, if there was an accident, something happened, what's the big deal? We're all related. What is the big deal? Another crazy story, really, really crazy, and this was told to me while I was in college. Obviously, the camera story is just after my graduation, maybe a month or two. But this is the crazy story out of Florida. Supposedly, my cousin's husband, Chris, supposedly was having an affair. And the reason that they found out is because the woman that he was having an affair with had 2 children. And they were locked out of the house and called him. And so when he went to the house to let the children in, he noticed something wasn't right and walked in. And apparently the woman that he was having an affair with was murdered. Once again, I do not know if this story is true or not. It's fairly complex. I guess it was my sister who told me this story. It doesn't use as many people as the NFL story does, but I don't really have any reason to doubt anybody. I just think it's a crazy story. And I know that when I seen my cousin for my graduation, I wanted to bring it up to her and tell her I'm really sorry that I didn't contact her about it or anything. I just figured it was a really tough situation, and I certainly didn't know how to actually approach it. And so I never contacted her about it. I was busy at school, and I think that there was nothing that I could do from my point of view, but I certainly was worried. More for Chris than Sherry. I mean, Sherry's wrath is, you don't want to have Sherry upset with you. And so why these complex stories that use many people? And why is provocation being used? How does provocation equal facts, especially with a false story to begin with? And this tactic, using a creation, does nothing but build creations and adds to an already outrageous and false narrative. So I want to end, or continue rather, not end, but continue with the story that I did react on. And after my sister gave birth to her baby, my mother was there for many months. My dad and Liz went to go visit when she was born. She was born premature. She was born early by a month, from my understanding. And when they came back, I was in school, I think. I'm pretty sure I was in school. No, it was after school, actually. So when they came back, it was after school, because I had already introduced Tatum to Carmen while Tatum was pregnant. But Mom, Dad, and Liz told me about this NFL story. And basically what had happened is Mia was born about a month early, 4 weeks I think it was. And that night after giving birth and everything else, everybody went home. Dexter, everybody went back to the house. Tatum, of course, stayed in the hospital. And Mia was there, of course, because she was, I think she was in the ICU just to be stable. I don't think she was unstable or anything. She was just, 4 weeks early, and, what they have to do for a baby like that. So they went home, and the next morning on the way to they were all jumped into one car, and on the way to the hospital, Dexter taps, I think either Liz or my mom was driving. Maybe my dad was driving. Anyways, he asked to be dropped off at the Buffalo Wild Wings. And apparently, from what I was told, I asked them, I said, why did you drop him off there? Why would you guys, the parents, do this? And they said, they kind of talked with him, and he said, they told me that he said that the NFL was more important than dealing with, being with Tatum and Mia on the second day of Mia's birth on this earth, while she's basically in an incubator or whatever it was that was going on with her, but she was still in a hospital. I don't know why they dropped him off, but they told me clearly that he said that the NFL was more important than being at the hospital at the time. I didn't understand it. At the time, I couldn't visit. I couldn't be there when she was being born and all that, but I did visit. I don't know, it must have been 9 or 10 months later after she was born. And of course I confronted Dexter. My confrontation with Dexter was clearly between me and him. I made it very clear. This is between me and you. And I also made it very clear that if I ever found out that he ever went to a bar or watched a game or eat wings rather than be with Mia, any time of need, that I was going to kick his ass. Without a doubt. Now, nothing further, nothing beyond that, but, and I guess that's a threat, but at the same time, yeah, I think that you should expect to be punched in the face if you're going to go to watch the game instead of be with your brand new baby girl. Anyway, so we had about a 2-hour long conversation, and it all didn't end well, but there was no violence. There was just a very, very passionate back and forth. I told him I told him I didn't believe the damn story is what I told him. It took me 15 minutes to get him to tell me over and over and over again. I'm like, I don't believe it, dude. You're a good guy, Dexter. We're all men, we're imperfect, but you're a good guy. You definitely did not say this. When he told me he did say it, I just couldn't even believe it. I'm like, now you're actually saying that to my face right now. Do you understand that I am blood boiling mad? All right. But I still told him it's between us. Don't be taking this back to my sister or anybody else. But see, I still don't think he would have did that. I believe that this was a concocted, provocative story made to trigger me, which I don't know, what does that mean, triggered? You left my niece at the hospital, went and drank beer and ate watched the game, and there's other backstory to all this that I'm not going to get into here, that I don't know if that's true either, to be honest with you, but there is some backstory to all of this between Tatum and Dexter, and I don't feel like gossiping. Understand, this is not me gossiping. This is me making things clear, absolutely clear about what the heck was going on back then, the connection to what it is connected to now, and how crazy and provocative these narratives have become. But only makes sense since it came from a source or sources that were lying to begin with. And so let me say this again. Why these complex stories, using many people to back these stories up? And why is provocation being used? Why is that being used to provoke me to call, my sister attempting to get me to call Sherry to start an argument about a phone, about a camera? Why the fuck would I do that? Me and Sherry have had our times in the past, but it wasn't third party, it was face to face. All because she saran wrapped my toilet, and her and Kimon gave me a bowl of tomato soup that was 50% Tabasco. Just kidding. I love these fucking people. Why they are acting like this, and is beyond me. But these people are lying and then building up creations upon these lies. I do not believe for a second that Dexter would fucking go to would say something like that. I don't believe it for a second. Now, did he go to Buffalo Wild Wings on the second day and maybe he got asked to drop off and maybe that happened? Maybe that did happen. I would not be mad at him about that. I would talk to him about it. But the whole thing was him saying, they made it clear to me, and I repeated it back to them, and I told him for at least 10 or 15 minutes that this is unbelievable. There's no fucking way that you said that the NFL is more important than your daughter. Just to be clear, I also made sure to make it clear with him that how does he feel now that she's, that I guess she was around for about 10 months at that point. He always seemed affectionate to her while I was visiting. And I have no reason to believe that he's not a good father, actually. Except for the fact that he would go out and be part of this fabrication. So why provocation? Why lies? Why false narratives? And this is back at my graduation. So I need to make it very clear because I'm actually a very honest person. But when I'm being lied to, especially when I was on my upswing of improving myself, and the people around me that are supposed to be supporting me are lying to me, and just because I believe them doesn't mean that my bullshit meter wasn't going off and that I was approaching these things in a careful manner. Not as much during between 2006 and 2008, but deeper in, when I thought my mother was losing her mind, when I thought my dad was losing his mind or starting to become senile because some of the things they were saying just didn't make any sense. But anyway, why the lies and the provocations, and why is there an expectation that those lies and fabrications are just going to be like word of bond, like it's bonded? It's not. It's not. It's not. I have been active. So it's not. And I've been doing whatever I can, but it's enough. Trust me, it's going to be enough. These provocations are just ridiculous. This narrative is blown absolutely crazy. Having sex with my dog. Are you out of your fucking mind? Anyway, thanks for listening. And some of you need to start taking notes or start understanding that there is a lot of more to this that you guys have been asked to be part of. Much, much more. Okay, that's it.